Yo, what up, boxing fans, and welcome back to the Saved by the Bell podcast with my co-host H and myself, Dark Side of the Moon. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the fight that was last Friday, Harlem Eubank versus Nurali Erdogan. We're going to be talking about the Misfits card coming up between Gib and Slim, and we're also going to be talking about the professional boxing coming up this weekend between Cameron Vuong and Gavin Gwynne, and the main event, Sonny Edwards versus Galal Yafai. But before we get into that, how you doing, H? And what did you think of the boxing over the weekend? Or should I say on Friday?
First of all, thank you for asking me how I'm doing. I'm doing good. It's pretty cold out here, pretty miserable. Do you know what I mean? But besides the weather, everything's pretty good. Let's kick things off straight away with the Harlem Eubank versus Nurali Erdogan that took place just this weekend. Where do I start with this? You know, first of all, yeah. First, I want to tell you something. You may not believe it. You may believe it. Apparently, this was the most watched boxing fight, yeah, in Britain of 2024. Can you believe this? I read an article about this earlier, and I was like, what? How is that even possible? Apparently, 1.7 million people tuned in.
No way.
This is what I read. But you know what though? It kind of makes sense because we're living in a time of recession.
Yeah.
And not everyone can pay for pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone can pay for the zone. So this event was on Channel 5, which is free. So it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, what? No way, bro. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Let me get back onto the main topic. What did I make of this fight? If, in all honesty, absolute shy, absolute garbage. Yeah, I've seen better white collar fights. I've seen more entertaining influencer fights. I've seen more skillful amateur fights.
True.
Than this professional fight between Harlem Eubank and Nurali Erdogan. Now, I'm not going to completely write both men off. It takes a lot to step into the ring, right? Training, dietary, all this sort of stuff. So you got to give respect where it's due. But as far as the fight itself, oh my God, I am so glad it was on Channel 5 and it was for free.
Yeah.
And can you believe that was the main event? What?
Yeah.
That was the main event card. How? Oh my God. Anyways, I'm glad it was for free because if I paid for that, oh my God, I would be absolutely burning. And I would make sure I get in contact with the broadcaster and say, yo, run me my money back because this was complete garbage. I want to ask you the same thing, bruv. What did you make of this fight between Harlem Eubank and Nurali Erdogan? What did you make of this? And be honest. Hey, this is Saved by the Bell podcast. Be honest. Keep it 100, bruv.
I keep it 100, man. I have to say, it's probably one of the most scrappy and boring fights I think I've ever seen. I mean, it really was terrible. I mean, we had so many different points. The fact that the fight was scrappy, the fact that there was, points deducted from both sides. 2 points were deducted from Erdogan, 1 point deducted from Harlem Eubank. They both threw each other on the floor numerous times. I mean, it really was, some people might say, a shit show. I mean, it was terrible to watch. So my thoughts on the fight were we probably could have spent our time better watching something else, if I'm being honest. However, what do we get from all of this? Where does Harlem Eubank go from all of this? And I think the answer is quite obvious. This was just a filler fight. It was an easy fight. He was supposed to win the fight, and he did just that. It was a poor performance, but he's put himself in line to have that big fight against Adam Azim. So what's your thoughts on the potential fight against Adam Azim?
Harlem Eubank is getting smoked. That is my thought. I mean, you got to think about this, Dark Side. This guy, Nurali Erdogan, was just a warm-up fight for him to get warmed up, get ready, you know what I mean? And get prepared for Adam Azim next. But you couldn't even deal with this guy. You couldn't even put him to sleep. You couldn't even outbox him. There was literally nothing impressive about this fight. If If we were talking about this podcast, I would have jumped off the channel 5, and I would have watched something else. You know what I mean? I would have watched some CBBS or something, bro. BBC, something. You know what I mean? EastEnders, bro. Do you get it? Then watch this fight. But anyways, let me not get sidetracked. And this guy was supposed to be Nurali Erdogan was a warm-up fight for Harlem Eubank. And we saw nothing in this fight, nothing special, nothing to show us, okay, you know what? Maybe Harlem Eubank is ready for Adam Azim. Maybe Harlem Eubank is ready to take that step. And no, we didn't see none of that. Harlem Eubank has not convinced me, and I'm sure he's not convinced anyone else that he's ready for that level. But then again, this fight must get made. There's no doubt about it. It's not a question of, is he ready? Does he deserve it? It's only a matter of time. Harlem Eubank versus Adam Azim. Let's get it crack-a-lacking. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be Adam Azim's biggest fight. It's going to be Harlem Eubank's biggest fight. Listen, Harlem Eubank is 31 years of age.
Wow.
This is his prime. He's in his prime right now.
Thought he was younger.
He's not going to gain any more power. He's not going to gain any more speed. He's not going to gain any more skills than what he knows as of right now. Anything after 31 is going to be slowly decline in the boxing. Boxing is a young man's sport. And especially the division that Harlem Eubank is in is definitely a young man's division.
Definitely.
This fight is it's gonna take place, and it must take place for the betterment of boxing, for the betterment of British boxing. When this fight does get made, I feel like Harlem Eubank is gonna get smoked. Adam Azim is gonna put him to sleep within 6 rounds. That's my thoughts on that fight there. I don't want to completely write off Harlem. Do you know what I mean? We do know that he is only known and he's only out there because of the Eubank name. Let's take out the Eubank name and let's just say Harlem Charles or something. Let's just say that. Would we even know who Harlem Charles is?
No.
We wouldn't know who Harlem is. Only because the only reason we know him is because the Eubank name is at the end of Harlem Eubank. The Eubank is what makes him more popular than what he is. Do you know what I mean? Let me quickly ask you, Harlem Eubank versus Adam Azim is about to take place. I'm sure it's going to take place next. And if it does take place next, give me your thoughts on that fight.
Well, if it does take place, and I think me and you both agree it will take place for obvious reasons, it's going to be a good money fight for both guys. Both guys now have quite good names. One has a good name because of his father, and the other one has a good name because of what he's actually done in boxing. What do I think about the fight? I do agree with you. I do think that Adam Azim is probably going to win the fight by stoppage. I don't know how long it will take, but I do believe it will be a stoppage. The reason why I believe that is because if you look at the last fight that Harlem Eubank had, he tends to fall all over the place quite a lot. He throws his shot and leans over his center of gravity. So sometimes he's definitely exposed to heavy counter shots. And I think Adam Azim, he's very good with his jab. He's got good power in both hands, and he is a counterpuncher. He does look for those openings. So he will try and expose a Harlem Eubank and show who's really the better boxer. And I think me and you already know who the better boxer is, but sometimes you have to have those fights to actually get that down on paper.
Most definitely. I mean, if we're talking about speed, power, agility, footwork, ring IQ, it's all in Adam Azim's favor.
Definitely.
So the A side is Adam Azim, the B side is Harlem Eubank. And Harlem Eubank cannot afford to lose that fight. If he does lose that fight, it's game over. The game is done. It's time to log off.
Yeah, basically.
For Adam Azim, the future's only brighter. So that's my thoughts on that fight there. That's my thoughts on the weekend that's just happened. So yeah, it's a good little wrap up.
Okay, so we'll get into it. Now we're going to be talking about the Misfits card that's coming up this weekend. Definitely looking forward to this fight. The main event is going to be a spectacular one. You've got a 5-figure Gibber, some people know him as Aneson Gib, and then you've got Slim Albaher on the other side. Both guys have proved to have very good boxing ability, and both guys have power. I would say that Aneson Gib has probably got the slight power advantage, and Slim Alba's got the advantage in technical ability. I believe he's also quite an awkward fighter, but I believe both guys come to fight. Both guys have good power, and it's going to be an explosive fight. What do you think of this one?
All right, main event card. We're gonna kick things off right there. Listen, in my personal opinion, I'm gonna be a bit biased here. I'm gonna be a bit biased. I like Slim. Do you know what I mean? No Diddy. I like Slim. I like what he's done in the sport. Influencer sport, and I believe it's gonna be a difficult one because Slim is an awkward fighter, and with his, he's got, you know what I describe him as? I describe him as a daddy long legs. This guy is just an awkward guy, and he's long, and he's got the reach, and it's like, how do you get to this guy, bro? Do you know what I mean? As soon as you step towards him, he's already 2 steps back. So every 1 step you take forward, he's taking 2 steps back, and he's still hitting you with his jabs because that's how much of a reach he's got. Now my thing is, can Gibbs close the distance? Can Gibbs does he have the skill set to get in and dig up Slim? Has he got that skill set? That's the question. And I do believe he has a skill set. I do believe he's got what it takes to close the distance, because that's what this fight is. It's a distance fight. Slim is going to use his distance. The only time he's going to be on the offense is when he hurts Gib. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Gib is more of a brawler. He's going to step to you. So it's basically a distance fight. This is going to be the closing distance fight. Can Gib get to him, and can Slim stay away from him? Like cat and mouse, cat and mouse, cat and mouse. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, throwing the combinations, throwing the jabs, crosses, trying to get lucky here and there. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a good fight. Listen, I'm going to give this one a 50-50 split, bro. I'm giving it a 50-50 split because I feel like both guys are on the same level. Gibbs on the same level, Slim's on the same level. There's not one person that's more superior to the next. They're both on the same level. They both started roughly the same sort of time.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on the main event card. Now let me hit you up with this one. We're not going to go into all fights because we're going to be here forever. But let me talk about Salt Papi versus King Kenny.
Big fight.
A big fight. Another big fight. Big name. My thoughts on this. You know what? Let me come back on my thoughts. I want to ask you quickly on this one. What do you reckon of this fight? What would you make of this fight? King Kenny versus Salt Papi.
Well, it's going to be an interesting fight. 2 guys who've been around the Misfits scene now for quite a while. There's been quite a buzz around Salt Papi. For a while, everyone was starting to like him as one of the top-ranked fighters, but he did actually take a loss, so he's going to have to come back from that loss. On the other hand, King Kenny, he's also been in quite a similar situation because he's put on some very good boxing displays at times, but then at other times fallen just a little bit short when he needed to do just a little bit more to maybe get the decision on his hand. So I think on the breakdown of technical ability, I think it's going to be interesting because I do think King Kenny has technical ability. I think Salt Papi also has good technical ability, but I think the difference is counterpunching. I think Salt Papi is definitely the better counterpuncher and probably one of the better counterpunchers in Misfits boxing. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to either land their counterpunches on the case of Slim, or in the case of King Kenny, keep him at distance and keep peppering him with that jab constantly in the face. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Who do I think is going to win the fight? I have to think about this one for a moment, and I have been thinking about it for a moment, and it's really hard for me to put my hands on it. But I'm going to go with Salt Papi because I just think Salt Papi is slightly the more natural boxer between the two. Someone who I believe has slightly higher ring IQ and ring generalship. So I'm going to go with Salt Papi to win by decision, I think. What's your prediction for the fight, my bro?
My prediction for the fight is this. Salt Papi, whenever he boxes with confidence. He boxes with some sort of aura. It's like he's done it before. Do you know what I mean? He's confident in his skill set. Do you know what I mean? And every single punch he throws, it's not like he's trying to hurt you with every punch. He's trying to hurt you. Now, on the other hand, what I've noticed with King Kenny, he starts off very slow.
Yeah.
Almost like a snail. He starts off very slow and he's building up his confidence in the fight. So as the fight goes on, his confidence gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when he lands that one good shot, that's when his confidence gets in. Then he's in the motion. Where on the other hand, Salt Papi, he's already good to go from the get-go. Round one, as soon as the bell rings, he's already confident. There's no warming up for him. He's already on the go. As far as punch power, punch technique, counter punches, it's all in Salt Papi's favor. King Kenny is more for jab cross type of guy. Salt Papi is a hooks uppercut type of guy.
Yeah.
Styles make fights. It's a good fight. I'm interested to see it. But I'm giving it a 60-40 split. Salt Papi, obviously 60. King Kenny 40. Do you know what I mean? I do believe Salt Papi is one level above King Kenny.
Yeah.
Not by much. He's a level above King Kenny. Because let's be real, they both started same time. Do you know what I mean? They've both been around Misfits for a minute now. Do you know what I mean? So that's my thoughts on that fight there. Let's quickly wrap this up. I'm thinking, let's talk about Pinada versus Swarmz. Now, you may be thinking, why did I pick these two? I mean, let's talk about entertainment. Misfits, this is entertainment, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, some skill sets come into play with certain characters like Dean the Great or Sharky, or you know what I mean? But this is an entertainment, right? Misfits, the whole event is entertainment. And Swarmz is an entertaining guy.
Definitely.
Pinada is another entertaining guy.
He's a character.
He's a character. I mean, listen, let's be real. Swarmz, I'm just gonna keep it real. There's nothing special, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's nothing to be afraid of. The skill set is not there. But what he brings to the table is entertainment, trash talking, and that's why people are there to view it. You know what I mean? That's why people are there to watch it. And the maddest thing is, these guys are on the Misfits kickoff. So these guys will be the first guys to be kicking off this event. Pinada versus Swarmz. Now, let me get into the actual fight itself. Of course, Pinada has the better skill set.
Definitely.
Pinada has the better IQ. Punch power is definitely going to go to Swarmz. Speed's going to Pinada. Distance is going to Pinada. So the A side is Pinada in this fight. After Swarmz's last performance against Ed Matthews, and when he got smoked, I'm giving this one a 70-30 split. 70 to Pinada, 30 to Swarmz. I mean, listen, if Swarmz loses this fight here, what's next for him? What's really next for him? You know what I mean? But let me know your thought on this, Dark Side. What's your thoughts on this Swarmz versus Pinada, or Pinada versus Swarmz? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an interesting fight, actually. You know, like you said, there's the entertainment factor that both guys definitely bring to the table. But I think as far as actual boxing, you know, Pinada was the first pro boxer that KSI actually fought. And I think sometimes people do forget that. Pinada, when you watch him, he is technically quite good. If you watch every fight that he's had, apart from the fight with KSI, he's pretty much dominated all of his opponents. I do think there's partial reasoning for that is, one, because he was a pro boxer, and the other reason being he's extremely tall and lanky. The guy has got really, really long arms, and he can jab you from way across the ring. So it gives him a massive advantage over all his opponents. But again, just goes to back to the fact that, you know, Pinada's one of these guys who was beaten by KSI, and then he came back, and now he's had this brilliant rise, and, you know, everyone's really enjoying the rise of Pinada. So it's going to be an interesting fight to see. Who do I think is going to win the fight? I think it's fairly obvious. I mean, Pinada's got all the advantages in his favor. However, the thing that makes this fight interesting is I think that if there is any way that Swarmz can win, I think it'll be by knockout, because he can't win points against Pinada. He's not a good enough boxer, and he hasn't got the reach. I don't believe he's able to get in and out of range without getting clipped. He will just keep getting the jab in his face over and over again. So I think, you know, like you said, about 70-30 split. I'm going with Pinada. I'm gonna go with points. Yeah, I'm going to go with points, because I think where Pinada's one thing he's lacking is in the power department. He's got some power. He can knock people out, but he's not a one-punch power artist. So I think a points decision is what I'm going to go with Pinada.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with you. And let's quickly wrap this up. I want to talk quickly and briefly on Misfits itself, the whole influencer boxing from the start up until now. What is your thoughts briefly on, let's just talk about Misfits, forget any other organizations, forget anyone else. Let's just talk about Misfits itself as an organization. Do you believe Misfits is good for boxing, or do you believe it's just a joke, man thing? What's your thoughts on Misfits itself as an organization and all the sort of fighters they bring in?
My thoughts on this is actually it's changed quite a lot over the times, because when they first started doing the Misfits events, I was kind of looking at it as a bit of a clown show. Because as you know, I'm more of a pro combat sports fan. I enjoy the professional aspect of it, the fact that most of the boxers have trained all their lives. They've been training since 6 years old. So seeing these guys jump in the ring and kind of do somewhat of a clown show, I kind of thought, nah, this is not good. It's not good for the sport of boxing. It almost makes boxing look bad. But now over a period of time, it's gone on and gone on and gone on. And I've started to understand there's a lot more to it than just that. You know, it's bringing a lot more eyes to the sport of boxing, which is obviously what most of us pro boxing fans want to see. We want to see boxing become one of the top sports in the world again. And to do that, we need these kind of companies like Misfits to be able to come and put on these kind of entertainment shows, because let's be real, these shows are like a mix of professional boxing and, let's say, WWE. It's like a wrestling storyline almost, with that kind of an entertainment factor, but with the sort of boxing side to it. And over the period of time, I've really warmed to it and I've become a big fan of Misfits. I try to watch all the cards now when I can. And all I can say is long may it continue. Not just that, but, you know, if you're KSI, of course, it's made a whole heap of money. It's given a lot of people opportunities to make more money. And, you know, for people that do enjoy having a fight and just want to get in the ring, and, you know, that's also great for them. So it's given out a lot of good opportunities. And I think overall, my mind has been completely changed, where I used to think it was bad for the sport, and now I'm fully with it. I think it's a great product created by KSI. So fair play to KSI and all the team involved in making the Misfits cards. What's your thoughts on the Misfits organization?
You know what? Yeah, I'll be real. When I first started, I was like, what's going on here, bruv? Trying to make a mockery of our religion. And what's our religion? Boxing. Trying to violate, trying to mock us, bruv. What is this? What's going on here, bruv? Influencer boxing. What is that? What are you talking about, influencer boxing? And when they all first started boxing, it was shambles. I've seen better amateur sparring sessions than what these guys were putting on. But then again, KSI, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Deji, Salt Papi, King Kenny, all these sort of guys, they all started at the same time. And it's crazy because when you think about it, yeah, they all started boxing, training the same time. Of course, some have gone further, some are still there. Some, you know what I mean? But they all started boxing the same time. They all started training the same time. And over the years that Misfits has grown as an organization, so have the boxers. Well, so have the influential boxers. So have their skill set grown. And as it's grown, I've grown to love it as well. Do you know what I mean? And now now sitting here today in 2024, I feel like, no, I don't feel like, I know Misfits is good for boxing overall.
Definitely.
Amateur boxing, pro boxing, influencer boxing, the whole package is good. Now you have to understand, when Misfits first started, where was boxing at? Where was professional boxing at as a sport? We was down bad. We was on our face, flatline. Do you know what I mean? To the point where I read an article, it was to the point where TMT, the Money Team, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, all these other promotional boxing companies filed for bankruptcy at the same time Misfits started. So can you believe it? The boxing promotional companies such as TMT and Golden Boy filed for bankruptcy. That's how you know we was on our face, bruv. It was a bad time for professional boxing. Do you know what I mean? The fights weren't getting made. There wasn't enough money in it. Like, It is bad. And then Misfits came, and Misfits, I'm not gonna lie to you, it boosted it up straight away.
Definitely.
Because you have to understand, yeah, we know boxing is a combat sport, but let's be real, it's 2024. You can't just be a textbook boxer on its own and think you're gonna sell tickets. You need to be a little bit entertaining. You need to have a bit of charm, a little cheeky chap. You need to know how social media works. It's 2024. It's not 1980s. It's not 1990s. It's not even the 2000s. It's 2024. Social media, entertainment, and all this sort of stuff plays into a big factor. So when Misfits came about in the early days, the professional boxers, they couldn't really understand it. What's going on here? How are you getting more views than me? I'm a professional boxer. How are you even getting paid more than me? And I'm a professional boxer. And you guys are influencers. What's going on here? But then as times come along, you've seen social media just go crazy. Social media has took off like a rocket. And now, bruv, Jake Paul is the highest. How can Jake Paul be in the top 10 rank of, I think, was it 2023 and 24, top 10 highest paid boxers? And he's not even a pro boxer. And he's not even a pro boxer. I think he was above Tyson Fury.
Wow.
Wow. Right?
Yeah. Fury's one of the top paid boxers in the world. I mean, there's only probably a handful that get more than Fury. Probably off the top of my head, maybe Canelo and AJ. I can't really think of anyone else.
That's literally what it was. That's literally what it was. It was Canelo, AJ, Jake Paul, then Tyson Fury.
Crazy.
But you get the drift. It started off small. It started off as a joke. It started off as a laugh. And now it's grown into something serious. I mean, just take a look at the likes of Dean the Great. He's got enough skill set, enough talent to go into the pro ranks. Do you know what I mean? And he started at the same time as Jake Paul, KSI. Amateurs, novices. These guys ain't even got amateur records. They're literally white collar fighters. That's basically what it is. They're all white collar fighters. And then now look at it as an organization. Look how much money these guys get paid just from going on, just to go on Misfits. Just take a look at this: Tommy Fury versus Darren Till. Do you know what I mean? These guys are professional. These guys are professional combat sports athletes. Tommy Fury, who is a professional boxer.
Yeah.
This is his what, third time on Misfits? No, sorry, maybe his second time, because obviously Jake Paul's separate to Misfits. But
yeah,
let's just call it third time Misfits, right? Guys, influence or whatever. This is his third time. Darren Till, who is a ex-UFC star, MMA fighter. What's he doing on Misfits? These guys are pro fighters, but they understand the game now. They understand there's money involved in this game. There's money involved in Misfits. You can make more money in Misfits than the pro game.
True. That's definitely true.
And literally fight guys who you would beat in a sparring session in the pro game. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely crazy. So as a whole organization, I believe Misfits is definitely good for boxing. Like you said, may it long continue and may it grow even bigger. I mean, who knows? I mean, you've seen what they've been doing, tag team matches. I mean, when have you ever seen tag team matches in boxing?
First time ever.
So, I mean, listen, as an organization, I feel like they're doing a great job. Big up to KSI for even coming up with a plan like this. You know what I mean? He could have gone into football. He could have gone into badminton. But he chose boxing. Do you know what I mean?
Lucky.
And then now you have to understand that was that. So Misfits came, and then right with Misfits, at the peak of Misfits, guess who else came into the game? Turkey or Sheikh.
Yeah.
And that's
full boost. Full
boost. He took the pro game to the next level. So now you got influencer game up here, you got the pro game up here, and we're just on top right now. Combat sports is on top, especially boxing. Boxing is on top of everything right now, even the UFC. Just look at 2024 as a whole. I mean, next month, we're going to have to do another episode on just the year itself, recap. But with professional boxing, Turkey or Sheikh, and Misfits, all in one. Wow, boxing is at the all-time highest it has ever been.
100%, man.
And that's my thought on that, bro. You know what I mean? Misfits is good for boxing. Influencer boxing is good for actual boxing. Do you know what I mean? Even white collar boxing. Do you know what I mean? Even white collar boxing, such as Luke Dyson. I'm sure I mentioned to you the other day. Luke Dyson, he's a white collar fighter, bro. 136 fights in. He's not even with Misfits. The guy's going to random gyms, local gyms, getting it cracking.
They should sign him up, man. Get him some money.
BKFC, sign him up, bro. What's going on, BKFC? You get 100%. Me? Luke Dyson is there waiting. But yeah, man, that's my thoughts on influence and boxing. It's great. And may it long continue. I mean, who knows? Maybe me and you might be on there one day, tag team. You get me?
Yeah, you never know, 100%.
You get me? But yeah, that's my thought on that, bro. I get into it. Yo, what's going on, fight fans? It's me, H, and my co-host, Dark Side of the Moon. And listen, on Saved by the Bell podcast, we like to show love. We like to shed some light on people that you may not know. It's not always got to be glitz and glamour and superstars and all these mega names. Sometimes we got to show some love to people who are fairly unknown. Wouldn't you agree with me, Dark Side?
Absolutely, man. You got to show love to every category of fighters, not just the ones at the top. That's what gives you better boxing knowledge. When you can look at any level of the sport and pick out a load of fighters, then it shows that you know boxing.
That's right. So the fight that I'm about to mention next is on the undercard of Sonny Edwards versus Galal. Now, this fight is going to be taking place on the 30th of this month, which is November, in case some of you guys may have forgot what month we're in, like I always do. But anyways, let's fast forward. So we've got Gavin Gwynne versus Cameron Vuong. Now, it's pretty simple in my eyes. It's a up-and-coming superstar who's Cameron Vuong, and he's facing Gavin Gwynne, who in my eyes is on his way out of the sport. He's on his way out, and I think he's trying to get last few paychecks and call it a day. Anyways, Gavin Gwynne's record stands at 17 wins, only 5 coming via KO with 3 losses on his resume. Cameron Vuong, 22 years old. Man's only got 6 wins and 3 coming via KO. So you see, he's a novice. He's a prospect. Do you know what I mean? He's just come on the scene, bro. You know what I mean? 22 years old. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So Cameron is currently signed by Matchroom. Now listen, Dark Side, you know, Matchroom, Queensberry, these promotional companies don't sign you unless they see some potential.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, both guys are veterans in the sport. Of course, Frank Warren being the super OG. But anyways, Eddie Hearn is still a great promoter. He may not have as much experience as Frank Warren, but he definitely is a very, very good talker and very good promoter. So with that being said, Cameron Vuong has only had 6 fights and he's already signed with Matchroom. Hey, that says something, right? That says something. That says that he could be the next Ben Whittaker. He could be the next Ryan Garcia. I mean, Cameron Vuong is no homo. No homo, no diddy. He's a good-looking chap, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. No homo. So I get what Matchroom's trying to do here. Anyways, let me quickly ask you, what's your thoughts on this fight here, bro?
Well, my thoughts on this fight are, like you said, is really a young up-and-coming prospect versus a wily old fox, as they might say. like you say, you know, Gavin Gwynne, he's sort of been around. He's fought a lot of journeymen, and he's 34. He hasn't had that many fights, but he's sort of been around for ages. He's had inactivity through injuries as well throughout his career. So I agree with you. I do think he's on his way out. And I think for Cameron Vuong, it's sort of a good test for him because he's very early on in his career. And there's obviously people are thinking that there's a lot of potential. And how do you find out if someone has got that potential? You start giving them with tests who've been in with other people who've also gone on to do good things in the sport. So I think this is really more or less just about a test for Cameron Vuong. And what do I think of the fight in general? I think the fight will be interesting because Cameron Vuong is a fairly aggressive style fighter. He likes to come forward when he boxes. And Gavin Gwynne, he's sort of more or less of a plodding fighter, keep up your guard type of fighter. So it'll be interesting to see if Cameron Vuong is able to pick holes in his defense and get him out of there.
I mean, listen, end of the day, yeah, I totally agree with what you just said. I totally agree. Think about it. 17 wins, yeah, and 3 losses on your resume. Why would you fight someone like Cameron Vuong, sorry. It don't make any sense. What is it? What's in it for you? What's in it for Gavin to face someone like Cameron? It don't make any sense, does it, right? I mean, for Cameron, it makes sense. I mean, he's the up-and-coming guy. He's gonna it's a win-win situation if he loses to Gavin. Oh, he lost to someone who was much better than him. He lost to someone who had more experience than him. Oh, this will be a stepping stone for Cameron, etc., etc. For Gavin, if he wins, okay, he just beat a prospect, a 22-year-old prospect. If he loses, oh, look at you, mate. You lost to a 22-year-old. How do you feel? Do you know what I mean? So it's a lose-lose situation for Gavin, and it's a win-win situation for Cameron. I mean, think about it. Gavin's last fight against Mark Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Gavin got absolutely battered, absolutely smoked. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's the best version that we're going to see of Gavin. That's the best version we're going to see. He's 34 years old, bro. Do you know what I mean? You can't get any better than this. And you know, with the divisions that they're at, with the lightweight division, the older you are, it's peak. This is a young man's division. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I understand for heavyweights and cruiserweights, I understand you can be 34. That's your prime. You know what I mean? 38, 40, bro. Do you know what I mean? But for the lighter divisions, the light division is the younger the game is. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Especially for the lightweight division. Damn, homie, you definitely need youth on your side. I mean, think about this. I wrote this down just to tell you as well. I wrote this down. This is the kind of level of Gavin Gwynne is, and I'm not trying to disrespect him, but we gotta state facts, right? Gavin Gwynne debuted. Gavin Gwynne debuted back in 2016 against Joe Biden. Yeah, check this. Up until Joe Biden, he was fighting absolute trash cans, and I'll name you just 2 trash cans, journeyman. Now you're gonna laugh at this. So let's just talk about one of those fighters. Yeah, Swarmz Alexander, whose record was 5 wins and 65 losses. Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on to someone else. Ibra Riaz, who had 5 wins and 118 losses and 4 draws. So these are the kind of caliber of fighters that Gavin Gwynne has been fighting since his professional debut against Joe Biden. And funny enough, up until Joe Cordina. Once he faced Joe Cordina, he lost, you know what I mean? So up until then, he was fighting absolute journeyman, do you know what I mean? And even after Joe Cordina, he hasn't fought anyone special. I mean, the last person that we can mention is Mark Chamberlain. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like this fight here is basically, you know, when you pass the torch over. So you pass the torch over to the younger guy. Like, hey, you go, mate. It's your time now. Do your thing. You know what I mean? But still, saying all this, Gavin Gwynne has more experience. Gavin Gwynne has been in the ring with many more experienced fighters than himself. He shared the ring with high-level boxers, not elite level, but high-level boxers. So he's got more experience on his hand than Cameron does. Even though Cameron's a young guy, up and coming. Listen, it's boxing. All it takes is one punch, and it could be lights out. You know what I mean? So let's not fully write off Gavin. You know what I mean? Let's not fully write him off, because at the end of the day, he's still been in the ring. He's still got much more experience than Cameron. That's a fact. But I'm gonna give you my prediction on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna give you my prediction on this one. I feel like this fight will go the distance. But Cameron is gonna be victorious. Cameron will be the winner of this fight. Do you know what I mean? Because with Cameron's experience level, and Gavin's experience level, I think is quite unfair because Cameron is fairly unexperienced and he's going in against someone who is experienced. But the guy who's experienced is nothing special, if that makes sense. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my prediction. I'm asking the same thing. I'm asking the exact same thing. What's your final predictions on this fight here?
My final prediction on this fight is I think there might be a late stoppage in here. And I think the reason why I'm going to go with a late stoppage is based on the fact that I think Cameron Vaughan is an aggressive fighter. And I feel like the way that Gavin Gwynne fights, he tends to keep his guard up a lot. That'll leave him open for body shots. And I think that's where he will start working. He'll start working with the body shots. And in the later rounds, then he'll start going to the head. And that will really start taking a toll on him. So I've got Cameron Vaughan to win this fight by late stoppage. Probably somewhere 9 through 12.
Okay. I mean, listen, that's our predictions because end of the day, where does Gavin go from it if he wins? Or where does Gavin go from it if he loses? Where does he go? Do you know what I mean? There's only one way to go. Retirement. Do you know what I mean? For Cameron, win or lose, he's still going to continue on his journey. He's still going to move forward. For Gavin, damn, homie. You know what I mean? But yes, my guy, that's a wrap for that. His name Erdogan. Man's got like 20k followers on Instagram. Erdogan.
Yeah, Erdogan, yeah.
Erdogan, sorry. Yeah, Turkish name. Erdogan. Yeah, man's only got 20k followers. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? These guys need to work on their social skills, social media skills. It's 2024. What's going on, bro? You know what I mean?
100%, bro. 100%.
All right, cool. So we're gonna get cracking with Sonny Edwards versus Galal Yafai. Yafai? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Galal Yafai. Yeah.
Galal Yafai. Yeah, cool. Whatever. Galal Yafai. All right, cool. This fight is taking place Saturday, November the 30th, 2024, which is what, 2 weeks from now? Because next week is that 2 weeks? Week and a half? A week and a half?
Wait, no, I'm getting back.
No, this weekend is Harlem Smith versus his opponent.
Oh, it's that next weekend. I thought it was this weekend.
No.
What's the date today?
Today is the 18th.
Oh, shit. I thought the Sunny was next week. We're doing this way ahead.
Yeah. So we say, should we not do it then? Or should we just do it and save it in the drafts?
Yeah, do it and save it in the drafts. Yeah, fuck it. That's a better way.
So when it comes to the time, all you got to do is post it, huh? What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, shit, we're already on a rolling, you know what I mean, rolling bowl. So fuck it, let's get it.
We can just keep it there for later.
All right, cool. On 3, I'll kickstart in it. So 1, 2, 3. Yes, my people. If you don't know, you're about to know. Sonny Edwards is back in action. Sonny Edwards versus Galal Yafai, Saturday, 30th November, baby. Listen, Ross, talk to me. Are you excited? Are you excited for this one?
I'm definitely excited for this one. Sonny Edwards is one of my top technical fighters out there, so I always enjoy watching him box.
Yeah.
And Galal Yafai, who's obviously an Olympic gold medalist, who's come up through the ranks. He's still a prospect at the moment.
Yeah.
Against a lot of hard opposition because the fact the gold medalist and people recognize his quality. So what I would say is Sonny Edwards on the one side, he's great technically, but he doesn't hold that much punch power.
Yeah.
Can't punch, but he hasn't got that knockout ability. Whereas Galal Yafai, he's technically very good, but also has that knockout power at the same time. Somewhat a little bit reminiscent of when Sonny Edwards was fighting Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Bam is very technical, but he also holds a lot of power, very similar to Yafai. So this is almost like a test for Sonny Edwards at the same time as being a test for Galal Yafai. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting fight. I think if Sonny can stay on the back foot and avoid the shots of Galal Yafai, that's going to be his keys to victory because that's how he boxes.
Yeah.
I believe probably has 2 ways of winning. He could probably win by a stoppage mid to late rounds, I'll go with. Or he could win on the cards because he is technically good enough to land the shots on Sonny Edwards and get a victory on points.
Yeah.
who do I think is going to win the bout? Now, this is going to be an interesting question. I don't like to put Sonny down, but I just feel like he's in the same position he was when he was fighting Jesse Bam Rodriguez. And I feel like that power factor is going to be the factor that is going to be the undoing of Sonny Edwards. But, and this is a very big but, if Sonny can stay technically perfect for the full 12 rounds, he can get the victory.
Yeah,
And I think it will probably be harder for Sonny to get the victory than it will be for Galal Yafai to get the victory.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your thoughts on that?
Listen, both guys, interesting characters. Both guys come from boxing backgrounds. Sonny Edwards' brother, Charlie Edwards, Galal Yafai's brother are Gamal Yafai and Khalid Yafai. They both come from boxing backgrounds. And you mentioned the fact, you mentioned the point where Sonny Edwards, he lacks the power, he lacks the pop, he lacks that bang. You know what I mean? I mean, his record says it all: 21 wins and only 4 via knockout. Only 4 via knockout, and obviously 1 loss to Bam Rodriguez. Galal Yafai pro record. His pro record's 8 wins with 6 KOs. I mean, so on record, he's got more knockouts than Sonny has in 21 fights. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Do you see the drift there? So you mentioned another fact. You mentioned another crucial fact that Sonny Edwards, if he can box technically good, and he can be on point from round 1 to round 12, he's got this. But if he lacks the technicality in that fight, and Galal comes out and throws his bombs, and Galal comes out and rocks Sonny, it's not going to be a good look. So I kind of think the longer the fight goes on, it's in favor for Sonny. And of course, the shorter the fight is going to be, well, it's going to be in favor for Galal. Now, I want to quickly mention on the thing, I want to mention on these guys quickly, just amateur records. I mean, I know from the pro ranks that Galal, he's only got what? 8 fights. Eight fights. Do you know what I mean? Pro fights. But let's not discredit his amateur fights. And I've written them down here as well, so I make sure I get the facts right. Galal Yafai, silver at the 2017 European Championships. Now check this. Back-to-back every year. Gold at the 2018 Commonwealth Championships. You see, 17, 18, active. 2019, he's a bronze medalist at the European Games. So that's 3 years in a row. He's been actively competing, right, in high-level sport. Now check this, 2020, year 4, he's a gold Olympian. 2020 gold Olympian. Now, you don't become a gold Olympian, you don't win all these medals if you're just the average Joe.
No.
So Galal is a very highly skilled amateur.
Yeah.
Very highly skilled, you know what I mean? And so when he transitioned into pro boxing back in February, 2022, he's already coming into the game semi-pro because of the achievements that he's got, you know what I mean? It's very high level. You don't become a gold Olympian if you're just British level. Yeah. You have to be world level. Do you know what I mean? But not to discredit Sonny, because Sonny has also got a good a good background. WBA elite, WBO junior, WBO youth. Do you know what I mean? Silver medalist for the GB junior team. I mean, he's also got a good amateur background. So both guys have got good amateur backgrounds. And did you know that these two have actually fought in the past?
I did.
They actually fought. They've actually. You know what? Sonny Edwards has beat Galal in the amateurs. He's beat him in amateurs, and when both guys were pros, and Sonny was champion, and Galal turned pro, they were sparring together for about, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, about a dozen times they've sparred each other, and each time was a good 10, 12 rounds. So both guys have got a very good feel of each other. They know what to do. They know what not to do. Do you know what I mean? Both guys respect each other. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's an exciting fight. It's a very exciting fight. And listen, 2 of the best flyweight guys in British boxing, definitely. I mean, you can't name another a better British flyweight right now than these two. These two are probably the best British flyweights. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look, the flyweight division is there for the taking. Let's be real. Because I wrote down some things, and let me just mention to you. The Ring Flyweight Championship is vacant. The WBC title is vacant.
Oh.
The only champions out here are the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA. WBO being Antonio, IBF being Angel Ayala, and WBO being Yuri Akui, which Sonny can beat all of them. Sonny's got a better record than all of them. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, this is a stepping stone for both guys, because there's quite a lot of names in the flyweight division besides the champions. You've got quite a few names. Let me just name them: Rodriguez Jr., Godova, Sandoval, Alvarado, Paris. You know what I mean? Delakin. You've got a lot of names, and they're not even champions. So the flyweight division is quite good. It's quite on fire. So I reckon if these two can, you know what I mean, depending on the outcome of these two, we might see a British flyweight champion soon, bruv.
Yeah.
We might see a British flyweight champion soon, and who knows if. I reckon both of these guys can beat all the current flyweight champions. Both of these guys have got the skill set to beat the current flyweight champions. Of course, Sonny lacking the power, the pop. But technically, he can beat every single one. Every single current champion he can beat. Galal, with a few more years, but he's got the power. He's got the raw dog in him to beat.
Both hands as well.
Both guys have got the skill set to beat all the current flyweight champions, and I believe they will bring the belts back to England, and we will see a British flyweight champion real soon, and hopefully in the near future, a British undisputed flyweight champion. Yeah, buddy. But overall, I'm excited for this fight. You know, November 30th. It's not long now. About a week and a half left until the fight happens. Depending on when we post this, but I'm excited. Let's bring it on. And I like Sonny, and also I like Sonny. Yeah, he's a bit of a cheeky chap, don't you think?
He is a cheeky chap.
He's a showboater, slick talker. Even in the ring, he goes from orthodox to southpaw to orthodox. You know what I mean? And he does it well. You don't know which one's which. Sometimes he confuses me when he's southpaw. I'm like, is he a southpaw fighter? He's tricking me now. He's playing mind games with me. And then he switches back to orthodox, and it's like raw. But he can do it so good. So I like Sonny. I like him as a character. I like him how he fights. I just like both guys. They're both British guys.
Yeah.
It's time to get it on. Time to see who's the best British flyweight right now. Let's get it on, bro. And this is what that fight's about. Who is the best British flyweight? And we're gonna find out very shortly.
Absolutely. That's a wrap. Well, everyone, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Saved by the Bell podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.
Of course.